So in Group A, we're gonna pick 3 teams that are gonna get out of groups, and in Group B, we're gonna pick 3 teams that are gonna also get out of groups. All right. So we're gonna talk about the group stage first, and then later we're gonna talk about day 1 and who's the matchups. They're gonna be against each other. All right. So I think for Group A, all right, Onyx PH, very first one. They're still very much dominant. They just came from a win from M6. They had a long, nice vacation. I don't know if they're gonna be as good, but hopefully they are still at the same level as they showed in M6. So Onyx PH, that is a no-brainer. No-brainer. Onyx PH should be able to get out of groups. Alright. Second. For me, it's gonna be Team Liquid ID. That's the second one. That's the second team that is gonna get out of groups. Team Liquid ID. None of the roster change. They've been practicing for a good time now. And I hope they're still the same level as they showed in M6. In my opinion. Team Liquid ID. So far, Onyx PH and Team Liquid ID are gonna get out of groups, in my opinion. This is just a prediction, by the way, so if you guys are watching this from an uploaded video, it's a disclaimer that it's my opinion. If you guys have other opinions, it's okay. It's okay. Apparently, there's 3 teams that are gonna get out of groups, and so far in Group A, it's Onyx PH for me and Team Liquid ID. They had a good showing in M6, although Onyx PH did destroy them. It was like wasn't it a 4-1 or something like that? It was kind of one-sided grand finals. I think they're still pretty good compared to the other teams here in Group A. Next one. I think the third one that is gonna get out of groups, it's between Bigatron Alpha and SRG. But in my opinion, I think it's gonna be SRG. Why? Right? Why SRG? They did not change lineups. It's still the same exact lineup, same coach, same everything. They stuck together, and they still didn't do that bad in M6. I mean, and early on they were doing really bad, but hopefully they fixed it by now. They had a lot of time to fix all those problems that they had in the early stage of M6, and they were actually doing pretty good at like the playoffs. Like during playoffs of M6, they actually did really good. Yes, Innocent had a lot to do with with their wins and stuff. Yo, Diona, thanks for the 10 Hong Kong dollars. Blessed Sunday. Thank you so much for the donation. Anyways, yeah. Thank you so much, Diona Dax. For me, Onyx PH, Team Liquid ID, and Selangor Red Giants are gonna get out of groups for Group A. Alright? So for Bigatron Alpha, they do have a stacked team. I'm not gonna lie. They have a freaking stacked team. Imagine, Super Ken Annabelle for your jungler. Light. One of the best roamers in MPL PH when he was in RSG. They have a Luke, probably, arguably, the best XP laner in Indo. They have Eman, probably the best gold laner right now in Indo, I think. Best gold laner. He's Filipino, but he's in Indo right now. Like, he's probably, like, as good as Skylar, probably. Or maybe even better. I'm not even sure. Right? They're that close. And then they have Mage Moreno, right? They still have Moreno, who has a lot of international experience. They do have a stack lineup, but then again, you guys gotta remember that they're still trying to get their chemistry together. That's why I don't think Bigatron Alpha will qualify compared to SRG, Onyx PH, and Team Liquid, who stayed a lot longer with each other. So, if you think about it logically, like in that way, SRG, Onyx PH, and Team Liquid should get out of groups since they've stayed together for longer. And yes, Flash Singapore, you could argue the same thing for Flash Singapore. They stayed together a lot longer. But then again, no hate to Singapore, but they're a weaker region, I would say. And people know that. It's not even a secret. They're a weaker region, they're a weaker team. So, compared to Malaysia right now, Indonesia, and PH. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest. I'm just being blunt. For See Soon, they have a new lineup, so I don't think they're gonna get out of groups. Okay? Flash changed roster? Who changed in Flash? I'm pretty sure they're still the same thing, right? It's Kurt and everybody else. Anyways, those are the 3 teams. Those are 3 teams that I think that are gonna get out of Group A. Next, Group B. Let's talk about Group B. Alright, this one's gonna be a hard one since there's a lot of good teams here. All of these are potentially, like, could get out of groups. I would say this is, like, the group of death. In my opinion. Why? Because everybody is so capable in this group. Yes, they have the big guns. Group A has the big guns. Onyx PH, Team Liquid, yes, they do, and SRG. But this, I would say this is the group of death because everybody, like, each team is capable of like beating each other. That's why this team, or this group is a lot harder to predict, in my opinion. Yeah, it's very unpredictable. But anyways, I think the teams that are gonna get out of this group, first things first, is, in my opinion, RRQ Hoshi. Alright? Not because I'm RRQ. We've scrimmed against them, and I know what they're capable of. And I would say that in M6, their M6 performance is not really their full potential. I think they could do way better than that, based on what they show on scrims. Alright? I'm not being biased. This is just the truth. This is what I see when we scrim against them. They're really good. Their pacing is really, really fast once they get things going. But I think it might be like, I wouldn't say stage fright. They just needed experience first. Because all the players they had in M6 were from MDL. Just like Team Liquid ID, they lacked experience. I mean, they still did decent in M6, but I think they would have done better. And I honestly thought that RRQ Hoshi is the stronger team than Team Liquid ID. I actually think that. Yeah, I actually think that. Because we've scrimmed against both, honestly. RRQ is a good team. I think they just need to let out their potential in this stage. So that's the first team in Group B. Second team, Falcons. Alright? People might say I'm biased again. It's my old players. It's the team that I used to coach and everything. But I think with the rest that they received after getting eliminated in the MPL PH playoffs recently, like in previously, I think they needed that rest so that they could mentally reset, right? They could mentally reset. I think the only person that didn't get much rest was Kyle, because he had ISF with RQ Kaito, so he didn't have as much rest as the other players. But I think Team Falcons is still really, really good. All right, Team Falcons. All right. So here's the hard part. The third team. The third team is hard. So Onyx Indo, they have a good lineup, but they have a new gold laner. They don't have CW, and CW is a big thing. CW is good. Probably not as good as Eman or Skylar or Aaron Shiki, but CW is freaking good. Right? He does his job. So losing him is a pretty big hit to Onyx Indo. And we all know that, you know, when Boots got replaced by, what's his name? Lutpi. Right? Boots got replaced by Lutpi, right? It didn't work. Although I could see Lutpi has potential. Definitely better than Rez. Lutpi is definitely better than Rez, in my opinion. So I think that's a good choice that they actually put Lutpi back into the MPL instead of having Rez. I'm just worried that their new gold laner might not have a lot of experience yet. Lacks experience. That's why I don't think Onyx Indo might get out of groups. I think my third prediction would probably be between Evil's Holy or Aurora, to be honest with you. Yes, Aurora did really bad during M6, but if you saw them in their recent ESL run, they did pretty damn good, right? They did pretty damn good, and it feels like they finally figured out what they were doing wrong during M6. Hopefully. So for me, Group B, it's gonna be RQ Hoshi, Team Falcons, and Aurora. Evo's Holy is actually very underrated as well. They got the recent pickup with KYY. Right? So he came from BTR, and he's a pretty good roamer as well. But I think they're lacking a little bit of firepower, in my opinion. Albert and KYY, they're lacking a little bit of firepower. They have Fluffy as well, so that's pretty good. They have Erlens, that's pretty good. They have a pretty solid lineup as well. Like, this Group B is like so unpredictable. But in my opinion, these three teams are what will come out on top. That's just my own prediction. Yes, Falcon gave Onyx PH a hard time during M6, but I think when it's all said and done, I mean, these PH teams are gonna come back for revenge, especially Aurora when they played so bad during M6. RQ Hoshi and then Team Falcons, they've been eager to play because they've had such a long rest, right? They have such a long rest, so that's why I think those three teams are what's gonna come out on top in Group B. But anyways, comment down below who you think is gonna get out of Group A and Group B, right? So next, let's talk about Day 1. Let's talk about Day 1. This is day number 1, English Stream A, alright? This is on Monday, which is tomorrow. It is actually tomorrow. Alright, so the first games are tomorrow. Anyways, let's look at the games and predict them, okay? So for the games, for day number 1, it's Flash Singapore versus TLID. I think this one is gonna be a TLID. It might even be a 2-0. For me, it's a TLID 2-0. Worst case scenario, 2-1. But overall, I think TLID should win. Should win. TLID. Number 2. Game number 2, we have Evo's Holy and RRQ Indo. Hoshi. RRQ Hoshi. For me, it's gonna be Hoshi. As long as they keep their explosiveness in what they do in Scrim in the tournament, as long as they can transition that, Hoshi should beat Evo's Holy. Should beat Evo's Holy. They just need a decent draft, and they need to be really confident with themselves once they're in game. Keep their explosiveness in the game. Transition it into tournament play and not just in scrims. Because RRQ Hoshi, based on experience, scrimming them, they're strong. They might even be stronger than TLID, in my opinion. Alright? No glaze. I'm not even glazing. Just because I'm an RRQ coach doesn't mean, you know. Anyways, next. This one's gonna be a hard one. This is a really hard match to predict. This one. BTR TLID. BTR has a new lineup with Light, so they might still have chemistry problems, in my opinion. They didn't look super solid in the recent ESL. Yes, they get out of they qualified for the group stage, challenge finals group stage. But they were like, there's a lot of shaky things that I saw from BTR. A lot of shaky decision making, and a lot of miscommunication. It might be a language barrier still at this point, because we gotta understand, like, Light is still not accustomed to calling in Bahasa, right? Eman might be, but Light will probably just learn like the basic Indonesian words, because there's Annabelle, there's Super Ken, there's Moreno who speak Indonesian, and Luke. 4 people speak Indonesian. So he's still not completely accustomed to how they're gonna approach the comms in-game. That might be what they're gonna have trouble with. It's communication. So I think TLID should win this series. So TLID wins against Flash SG, RQ Hoshi wins against Evo's Holy, and TLID wins against BTR. That's my prediction right there so far for the first 3 games. Yo, Captain, thank you for subscribing. Anyways, next, we have Hoshi and Aurora. For me, to be honest with you, I'm Filipino. And even I think RRQ Hoshi has a really good chance of beating Aurora. I'm kind of like, in my opinion, like, Aurora, I'm kind of missing a little bit of firepower with Aurora. Or explosiveness, you could say. Yes, they do have Renegade in terms of explosiveness and big time plays and stuff like that. But if Hoshi, the Hoshi that I know, with the potential that I see, if they could really transition that in the tournament, I think Hoshi should win. Could definitely win against Aurora. But then again, Hoshi does not have Skylar anymore, so that might be a big hit. I just forgot. They don't have Skylar for ESL, right? They don't have Skylar for ESL, but then Toy is still good. Toy is still freaking good, right? So that might be a little bit of a hit on RRQ Hoshi in terms of the firepower and the carry potential, you could say, the carry potential. So this is going to be a close one. It's going to be 2-1. It's going to be 2-1 in favor of Hoshi for me. That's my prediction, but it could really go either way, in my opinion. It could really go either way. Alright, next. Let's talk about day 1 still. This is going to be day 1, but it's a different group, I guess. I don't know, different group. Or different stream. There you go, different stream. Day 1. This is still day 1. It's going to be Onyx Philippines versus BTR Indonesia. I think this one's a no-brainer. But BTR might give them a run for the... BTR might give Onyx PH a run for their money. I still think it's going to be Onyx PH. Okay? It's still going to be Onyx PH, in my opinion. They were just so dominant during this M6 that I don't have any doubts about Onyx PH. So, yeah, I think Onyx PH. Alright, next. We got game number 2. We got Onyx Indo versus Falcon. And like I said, Onyx has a new gold laner that I don't even know who it is. Like, for RQ, yes, I get they got a new gold laner too, but I knew who Toy was. For Onyx Indo, I don't even know who their new gold laner is. I've never heard of this guy. to be honest with you. So I can't really like tell you right away if he's gonna do good or not, right? We're all gonna expect Kyrie to do good. He has a lot of international stage experience, Sans and Keyboy, but they still have Lutpi, which didn't work before. They ended up putting Lutpi at the MDL before, and they promoted him again at MPL right now. So let's see if he improved. But the Falcon PH team is the old brand roster, right? We can't forget. I think they just needed some reset and rest, mindset reset and rest, for them to actually start their engines again, right? In my opinion. Savara from MDL. I've never heard of that guy. Never heard of that guy. Sorry. Anyways, no disrespect to Savara from MDL, Onyx, Prodigy, or whatever. I've just never heard of him. But usually when I see, or when we scrim against a really good like specific player, like a gold laner, I would remember their name. And yeah, hopefully he proves me wrong, this ESL, Savara. For me, the second match, Falcon PH. Alright, Falcon PH, it might be a 2-0 even, in my opinion. Alright, so the third match, this one's pretty easy in my opinion. This one's easy. Onyx PH, single-handedly, this is 2-0. They should be able to 2-0 See You Soon. See You Soon has 2 new players, I believe, and they still need a lot of adjustments. Alright, so I think the third match is kind of a no-brainer, in my opinion. It should be a 2-0. Even if it's a 2-1, I think Onyx PH should win. Okay, that's my prediction for that one. Alright, next one. We got Falcons versus Evo's Holy. Alright, this one's in my opinion, even Evo's Holy might be stronger than Onyx Indo right now, in my opinion. The Fluffy, KYY, Erlin, and what's his name? Who else is in there? Yeah, Fluffy, KYY, Albert. There's Albert in there also. That's a pretty solid lineup, to be honest. And this is the lineup that they should go for in the upcoming MPL Indo, in my opinion. Alright. This might be a closer game, but I still think with the experience that Falcon has and the chemistry that they have together as a team, Falcon should pull this out. It might be a really close game though. 2-1, I think. It's gonna be 2-1 in favor of Falcon. But just like the second game, it's like it could go either way. Just like the second match right here, it could go either way. All right, but I'm leaning more towards Falcon. Okay, leaning more towards Falcon for that one. All right, so let's go to the next one. The next one is this one. All right, so this is the last one. SRG. So it's about the SRG matches. All right, See You Soon versus SRG. I honestly think See You Soon is gonna struggle this ESL for some reason. I have a feeling they're gonna struggle this ESL. So SRG should take this one on the first match. They've stick together. They're not a different lineup, just like See You Soon. They don't have any new players. It's the same one that won the MSC. Innocent is still insane. Yumes and Stormy are still pretty insane at mid. I think SRG should win this one. First match. Second. Alright, Falcon versus Aurora. I think this one's gonna be a really close one as well. This one's gonna be close. But I think, like I said earlier from the group stage predictions, I think Aurora figured out what they were doing wrong, and they're kind of just figuring out their identity even more the longer they stay together. So I think Aurora should take this one away, right? In my opinion, Falcon is a really good team if you don't really have any info on them. There was a lot of instances in M6 where they gave Sushin to Falcon, and Falcon has a really good Sushin player. And I know because we've scrimmed against them. And when they finally figured out, oh, this guy, don't give this guy Sushin. You know, Falcon started struggling in terms of draft and in the game. So I think Aurora should know it this time, because I believe Falcon beat them during M6. But they're out for revenge, right? So they're kind of medyo gigil, because they're kind of eager to beat Falcon and get redemption. So hopefully Aurora shows that. SRG versus Flash SG. So for this one, I think SRG should take this away. Other than MY is a stronger region, I think SRG's explosiveness and chemistry is just way too much for Flash SG. Right now. For now, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Flash SG. Yeah. They just need a little bit more. Someone said that they changed roster. Actually, I'm not sure who changed, but if they did, then that's even more of a favor in terms of, you know, this matchup, SRG versus Flash SG. So I think SRG should take this one away. It might even be a 2-0. Like, this might be both 2-0, to be honest with you. And for the last one, this one's gonna be a hard one. This is like a 50-50. It's a hard 50-50. But to be honest with you, I might even lean towards Falcon. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, we haven't scrimmed against this new Onyx Indo team, so I don't really have a lot of info on them. I haven't seen them play in so long. But I like the way how Falcon played during M6, that it's convincing me that they might beat Onyx Indo here in the group stages. Yeah, I have like a really good feeling that Falcon has a really good chance at beating Onyx Indo in the group stages. So yeah, I think it might be Falcon, but this one is like the most 50-50 out of all the games. Out of all the other games, this one's like the most 50-50. So just keep that in mind. It could go either way, but I'm leaning more towards Falcon and the chemistry they have already. Because you gotta remember, Falcon almost beat. Was it Falcon? Yes. Or was it CFU? Was it Falcon or CFU? Falcon almost beat Onyx PH, if you guys remember. It was a 3-2, I believe. 3-2. You guys gotta remember that. They gave them a run for their money. But anyways, yeah, those are the predictions for today.